But the rise of legalized sports betting and the digital evolution of gambling, concerns around gambling addiction are more pertinent than ever. Yehuda Alcabes, a therapist and clinical social worker who specializes in treating addiction, is here to break it down for us. Welcome, Yehuda.
Thanks for having me.
So, can you share how legalized sports betting has influenced gambling addiction trends in the US?
Absolutely. People who have been struggling with gambling addiction may have had their addiction under wraps for a while, meaning that they took care of it. And now they have 24/7 access to get a gamble on everything all the time. And it made it really, really difficult for people who already had gambling disorder to handle now the bombardment of this new access. That's one way that it has influenced it. And additionally, there's people who are finding that they wouldn't have been addicted to gambling before this, but now they're on their phone all day, just placing bets and keeping themselves in that numb space and taking a lot of risks and doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, this 24/7 access seems to be accompanied by 24/7 advertising. So, how do you think this intense marketing contributes to the increase in gambling behaviors?
Yeah, people now see the behavior as normal, which is fine. But addictions that fit into social norms tend to hide more easily. So, for example, if somebody were to be at a dinner party and take out a vial of heroin and start shooting up, it wouldn't be okay, and everybody would be concerned. But somebody who's drinking too much can kind of slip under the radar. Uh, Somebody who is sitting with five friends and watching sports, and everybody is placing bets, but one of those people has nine bets going and they're live betting and they're trying to catch up on a bunch of losses that they had from the night before, you won't be able to see that right away. And so, with the intense advertising, it has put it in a social standing, which now it's everybody gambles, and the addict who's really struggling with it won't be spotted potentially for a while.
Mm. So, do you think that the legalization of sports betting and similar gambling activities was a misstep?
I do believe it was a misstep. I think that it was not properly planned, and very likely what was looked at was the rates of gambling addicts in America being very low. Um, Typically, in terms of addictions in general, gambling addiction has been one of the less prevalent ones. Um, but then to make a decision to now legalize it, you have to consider what you're doing in terms of access and how that's going to bump those numbers up. And I don't think that they properly projected what it would look like and didn't put in place proper funding for prevention and treatment.
Hmm. So, now that the horse is out of the barn, what do we do as a society? What do we do if someone we know or we ourselves have an issue with this?
Yeah. First of all, Gamblers Anonymous is all over the country, and that's a good place to go to start getting support. As always, addiction is a lonely disease, and it really thrives in the shadows. When you come out of the shadows, you start to challenge it. You start to feel less alone. You start to feel less afraid. So relying on Gamblers Anonymous is a big deal. And I think we need to re-educate ourselves in the way that we think about gambling, considering that gambling is no longer what it once was. It's not something that happens in a casino, and it's not degenerates, smoking a cigarette at 3 a.m. at a blackjack table. It's actually people who are trading crypto all day, every single day, and have completely checked out of their lives. So we need to reframe how we view gambling, because the disorder that's happening is the same, but we may not be thinking about it as a gambling disorder because it's something that's socially acceptable.
Mm. So, what are some signs we might want to be aware of in case somebody we know or love is going through this? And then what is our first step?
Yeah. The first thing I would look out for is erratic behavior, obviously out of the norm. Highs and lows, intense highs and lows can be an indication that somebody is struggling with gambling addiction because they are riding the waves of their bets. When they place them, there's a high. When they crash and burn, there's a low. So you look out for erratic behavior, high anxiety, and then secrecy around money. That would be another one. which comes with obviously trying to keep track of all the wins and losses and who is owed and who I paid back and all that. That comes along with gambling addiction. And then on top of that, I would say that you kind of look at the rituals that somebody has around, let's say, sports betting, for example. How serious is it? Does it seem like a very, very serious event? Like I think to the movie with Robert De Niro, darn it. Um, Silver Linings Playbook,
Oh,
where they have all of the rituals with the remotes and everything like that.
yeah.
Think about that. He used to just watch sports and it was casual. Now it's this very serious thing with 9 computers and keeping in touch with people. And that might be an indication that this has gone into a less of a leisure area and more of a problematic area.
Mm. So, what do you do? I mean, if it's someone you love, what do you do? If it's you yourself, what do you do?
Yeah. So if it's you yourself, it's going to take that first step with honesty. That's all you can do. Meaning you can't solve the problem in one day, but you do need to understand that you are keeping secrets from people in your lives and you're keeping secrets from yourself. And you need to take one step towards saying to somebody else, hey, I do this thing and it's a bit out of hand. That one step can lead to the second step, but don't think about it as I have to figure out how to tackle this because that's actually part of the disorder. Because chasing your losses and trying to make bigger bets to make that money back is part of the distorted thinking. And so if you view your success in recovery like that, you're going to just use the same tools that you've been using up until now. So you really have to think about taking one step forward into honesty and out of the secrets.
Mm. Now, if it's somebody you love, we only have about 20 seconds left. What would you say? Like, how do you have that conversation?
Well, you gotta be honest, you can't be afraid to bring up things even if it's the person you love is gonna get angry at you, and snap back at you. You gotta be bringing up things that are uncomfortable, and you might not get the response that you want, but if you believe that there's a real concern, you can't hold back just because your fear of their response is pre you know, you can't hold back out of fear of their response.
Right? Because you're thinking of their well being. That's good advice. Thank you,
Yeah,
Yehuda.
absolutely.